Conor McGregor is used to calling out fighters on social media, but not many return the favor, unless your name is Chrles Oliveira. And the Brazilian, who cemented his status as the best lightweight on the planet a couple of weeks ago, instantly called out McGregor after his astonishing UFC 274 performance. Today we're discussing Oliveira calling out the Notorious, plus his incredible win at UFC 274. Don't go anywhere. First up, let's discuss that brilliant performance. Oliveira racked up his 11th straight win a couple of weeks ago in Phoenix, Arizona, leading some people to suggest he was the best finisher ever in the promotion. And he wasted no time in getting to work on Justin the Highlight Gaethe, dropping the dangerous striker in the first round before mounting him and finishing the knockout artist via rear naked chokehold. Gaethe had come into the fight as many people's favorite, and those same people would have been shocked when it was Gaethe himself who was sent to the canvas. However, before all this took place, Gaethe had the fans on their feet after himself knocking Oliveira down. However, the Brazilian, who is no stranger to suffering knockdowns in his fights, recovered superbly well. Oliveira was again briefly knocked down, but again got to his feet to land some shots of his own, then pulled guard and took Gaethe to the ground. But the American refused to engage, knowing how dangerous Du Bronx is off his back. Shortly afterwards, the Brazilian caught Gaethe with a huge right hand, which sent him sprawling to the canvas, and everyone in the fight game knew Oliveira's MO from here. He instantly spotted his opportunity, following him to the floor where he quickly took Gaethje's back. The fight was over a matter of seconds later, as Oliveira sunk in a rear naked chokehold for the 21st submission win in his career. Incredible. What did you guys make of this performance? Next up, what was the reaction to this dominant performance? Stay tuned to find out. For the second straight fight, Chrles Oliveira picked himself up off the canvas to score a super impressive submission victory over an incredibly dangerous opponent at UFC 274, having disposed of Dustin Poirier in the exact same manner back at UFC 269 in December, and having told fans before the fight that the whole missed weight drama wouldn't distract him, he backed up his words in sensational fashion. Opinions are split as to whether Oliveira should have been stripped of his title or not, with people like Alexander Volkanovski and Michael Chandler agreeing that he should have, whereas a ton of other fighters have sided with Oliveira as he only missed by half a pound. Of course, Du Bronx is now the #1 contender for his own title, which is pretty ridiculous as he is of course the best lightweight in the world. The next challenger is yet to be determined, however, some have suggested it be Islam Makhachev, but for now, we should just marvel in the delight that is Chrles Oliveira as soon as Gaethje had given up his neck. Daniel Cormier on commentary knew it was over, saying just that it's over, oh my goodness. Whilst Joe Rogan added, forget that weigh-in drama, that is the best lightweight in the world. Before the fight, Cormier had suggested Gaethje would give Oliveira problems he had never before faced, but he passed his test with flying colors. What a performance. So what did Du Bronx say after the fight? Let's see. Well, Chrles refused to stay silent after his win, forgoing his nice guy image and putting the whole division on notice. He said, hey, there's something missing here. The champion has a name and it's Chrles Oliveira Du Bronx. And whilst the whole of the UFC were marveling at his win over Gaethje, Oliveira was going in on the UFC telling everyone that the title was his. And after that performance, absolutely no one would disagree. He went on to say, this is a message to the entire division. I'm a problem for the entire division. I'm the champion, this is my title, it should be here. Given his recent performances and the fact that he's now unbeaten in the past 11 fights, there are few people in the division who would give Oliveira a real test. Maybe only really Islam Makhachev or Beneil Dariush, but neither of these guys would give Oliveira the payday he's so obviously craving if the rest of his post-fight comments are anything to go by. Du Bronx went on to suggest that a money fight with the Notorious is high on his list of priorities, when he said, hey, Dana White, I don't care. Put anyone in front of me. Hey, Conor McGregor, are you coming up or are you gonna run away? It would be interesting to see if McGregor would be down to scrap, but Oliveira would certainly go into the fight the overwhelming favorite on this evidence. Who do you guys have? We're talking Gaethje's words for Oliveira immediately after the fight now. Stay tuned. Gaethje himself is known as one of the most ferocious punchers in the entire UFC, but following his defeat of Oliveira, he was the one gushing about Chrles' power, as the pair were embracing embracing at the end of the fight, Gaethje could be heard telling Oliveira that "you hit hard as F." Of course, this is a huge compliment for Oliveira, especially coming from someone like Gaethje, who showed some serious humility by paying the compliment to Chrles straight after being submitted. And Gaethje himself will now be looking to what's next after suffering his second straight title fight loss, following his previous submission loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov in the Russian's retirement fight. Gaethje is obviously still super dangerous, but will now need to put a streak together before he can be considered for another title shot, as 2 of his last 3 fights have been for the title. Where do you guys think Justin goes from here? Let us know below. Up next, we're talking about Khabib's comments on Oliveira. Following his UFC 274 win, many people have suggested that Chrles Oliveira is now the lightweight GOAT, which of course will have irked a certain unbeaten fighter in Khabib Nurmagomedov. And since then, the Dagestani has had his say on the situation and instantly shut down any comparisons between the pair. Of course, Chrles is now the leading finisher in the UFC history, which many have suggested qualifies him as the greatest lightweight ever, which many others have agreed with, but Khabib doesn't see it that way, surprisingly. Khabib retired undefeated and is many people's GOAT, but some have said that the amount of work Chrles has put in to get where he is, plus his insane record of finishes, puts him above the Russian. However, Khabib had his say on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert, saying, "He impressed me a little bit, but every fight he goes down. This one is a little bit bad for him. Every fight he goes down a couple of times. Last fight, it was like, how many? 2, 3 times knockdowns? With Michael Chandler, with Dustin Poirier, with Justin Gaethje, he always goes down. This is a little bit questionable, you know. Nobody ever touched my face, and all the time he went down. People cannot talk about comparing me versus Chrles Oliveira." Khabib then wrongly suggested Oliveira had been tapped 8 times, it was 3, but said he was open to discussing the issue about Chrles go on to beat Benal and Islam. Interestingly, who's your lightweight GOAT? And finally, we're discussing that terrible title fight. Stick around. Sandwiched between 2 of the greatest fights of the night in Oliveira versus Gaethje and Chandler versus Ferguson was the women's strawweight title fight between Rose Namajunas and Carla Esparza. Carla won the bout on points, but to say the fight was a disappointment would be a gross understatement. The fight has been dubbed the worst title fight in history, and for good reason. Not much went down. The fight was actually a rematch 8 years in the making, when Rose was again beaten by Esparza for Carla to claim the inaugural women's title. However, she would lose it in the next fight, and heading into this one, Esparza was in great form, having won 5 in a row, but she improved her record to 6 after getting the nod in the night's co-main. Joe Rogan, commentating, called it the dud of duds, whilst Esparza herself even claimed after the fight that nobody wants to be a part of a fight like that. She did claim that she felt as though she was going after it, but there was little to no evidence of this. The fight was overly defensive, and although the ladies will claim it was tactical, neither of them pulled the trigger, and there were very few serious strikes landed. After the first 2 rounds, Rogan again chimed in, saying, "This is the most uneventful title 2 rounds ever," whilst Cormier spoke of how confused he was as he thought it was guaranteed to be fun. What did you guys make of this one? As always, thanks for stopping by today, and remember to join us next time for some more fun and games. And don't forget to share today's video with any UFC heads you might know of. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any more great content in the future. Bye guys.